Yeah, well, you will have. I just said it was very rare.
The only thing is, if after 2 years you are sacked for whatever reason and you find it to be, or you think it to be unfair dismissal,
Yes.
if in that case, do you still have a case whether you have had a contract of employment or not?
Oh, yes, your contract of employment is merely, you see, that's why I took the trouble to give you the answer at the beginning, and that was that if you're working there, you have got a contract. It is just not written down. You have got a contract. All that the law says that your employer has to provide is a written statement as to the basic terms of that contract.
Will a verbal contract stand up in court?
A verbal contract is a contract.
Is a contract.
It's as valuable as any other. Your employer cannot say, we do not have a contract, because you're working there. If you're working there, you are working there for money. If you're working there for money, a contract exists. A contract requires 3 things: offer, acceptance, and consideration. Now, the consideration is the brass. So if you're working for someone for money, you've got a contract. All that you can get is the basic terms of that contract in writing. And I assure you, it is very basic as to what your rights are at work. Very, very basic indeed. It has to contain certain things. There is a very good leaflet about it. Obtainable, a copy of it is certainly obtainable from the job centre, although they don't always have them readily available, but if you ask, they'll get you one. Equally, if you call into your nearest Citizens Advice Bureau, they will have at least one copy on file and will tell you what that statement has to contain.
Really, on the from it all, what I really want to know is, are they legally bound to give you a written contract of employment, other than the fact that, like you said, after 26 weeks you can take them to the High Court, which doesn't do much for your job prospects?
Not the High Court, the Industrial Tribunals. That was a slip of the tongue on my part, which I corrected. The fact is, they do have to provide you with a written statement of the terms, the basic terms of your contract. They're supposed to do that after 26 weeks. Before the end of 26 weeks, to be absolutely specific. Yeah. If they fail to do so, I suggest you wait until the 2 years is up, which is only a matter of days away, and then say, hey, I want me written terms. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Ta-ra now. Neil. Is that an instruction, Irene, or are you telling me that's the bloke's name? I can't do the job on me, Neil. Hello, Neil.
Hello, Allan. I was wondering if you can help me. I've just recently finished college, art college, and I've got an exhibition down in London in September, and I was wondering if you could give me information on copyright, sort of, you know, the quickest way of getting it for September, say, when the exhibition's on.
Copyright for paintings?
No, well, no, the designs, textile designs, it's print work.
I see. The simplest way is to register with some organisation. Now, there is an organisation that does it, and that is known as Registered Stationers Hall. It's an organisation in London. Their address is available from your local library, your Citizens Advice Bureau, and presumably various other advice agencies as well. And all you do there is you pay a one-off fee for each portfolio, as it were. So if you send to them a volume with 10, 15 documents, I don't know how many you've got, but whatever, with 10, 15 documents, they will register the existence of those documents in your name at that date.
Well, you see, the problem is, you see, the work's already down there because it had to be left.
Well, you presumably have got copies of it.
I've got photographs, yeah.
That'll do, providing you can establish what it is, providing you can say, well, look, that design is mine, and there's a copy of it. They don't want the originals.
Yeah.
They only want to prove, or they only want to be able to prove at a later date, that the design we're talking about is this one. Okay?
Okay, thanks very much.
So get the address and get on with it, because it really is, a lot of people forget to copyright their material, and there have been some marvellous cases. The lawyers love them, because, I mean, lawyers like anything where they can rip you off, and the lawyers love them because they can make a fortune out of copyright cases. All right?
Okay.
Wish you luck.
Sunday, man.
And you need luck more than I. I'm going to survive, but you've got that horrible world of art and design to survive in. Ta-ra.
Thanks, mate.
Tom, don't go away.
Glendon Motors, Peugeot, Talbot.
Visit Glendon Motors, the Peugeot centre of the north, and take a close look at Peugeot quality. We know you'll be impressed with the 505 GTI and the 305 GTX, but when you've seen the exciting 205 range, which starts at just over £4,000, you'll realise that Peugeot quality is available to everybody. Of course, Glendon take part exchange and make quite amazing allowances, so come up market with Peugeot and Glendon. It's a combination that makes motoring a better experience.
Glendon Motors, Peugeot, Talbot Superstore.
At Blackpool Road, Preston. It's Carnival Week in Blackpool, the 18th to the 25th of August. Lots of special events coming your way. Street entertainment, roadshows, displays, and what's more, most of the pubs are open all day. There's a zoo break, a treasure hunt, and a spectacular firework display every night at 9:15. And on Sunday the 25th at 11:30 a.m, the Grand Carnival Parade from the Pleasure Beach to Ginn Square. Bring your family, bring your friends, be there.
Hi there, you're tuned to Rocky Shaw on wonderful Malibu Island Radio, coming at you on 91.6 meters on the tidal wave. This is the jewel of the Bermuda Triangle, and
Lad, jewels make me think of my wife Treasure. I calls her Treasure because people ask me where I dug her.
Here a wonderful Malibu.
okay, today I'm gonna mix a Malibu undercurrent. Fill a tall glass with ice, add 1 shot of Malibu, 2 shots of blackcurrant, and top up with soda. Amazing.
Malibu, it comes from paradise and tastes like heaven.
And coming up earlier than advertised this week, the Man Friday Show.
I bought a new pair of glasses, because every time I watched telly I could see nought but grey blurs. Glasses didn't help. Me wife says must be the telly. Let's buy a reconditioned one at Robert McKay's commercial TV from only £40. And reconditioned VHS and beta videos from only £125. We don't need a telly. What about them grey blurs, she asks. Anyway, they've got new pie colour TVs at discount prices plus generous part exchange. So we went to Robert Mackay's commercial TV, 70 Bond Street, Blackpool.
Well, John is on the phone and you can. It's 0772, that's for Preston, and then 561000. Please dial carefully, and there's no other number you can get through on. It's no good ringing any other Red Rose Radio number, 561,000. It's the only one.
Red Rose Radio.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Alan, and it's still good evening, isn't it? Not quite good morning.
Well, it's good evening. Whether it's good or not, I don't know, but it's certainly evening.
I'll amend that.
Excellent. What do you want? What do you want, Tom?
Some while ago, a friend of mine told me that you played on your programme a record towards the end called Bomber's Moon.
Yes.
Well, I've been trying to find it and can't.
You've been trying to find it and can't. It was written, performed, produced, published, and on the record label of a gentleman by the name of Mike Harding.
Is it one of mine?
It's one of Mike's. It's the song that he spent his whole life writing, in actual fact. Mike Harding's father was killed in an RAF raid, or returning from an RAF raid over Germany, and he was killed flying over Holland and landed in the sea.
That's one reason why I want it. I was on quite a few myself.
Okay, well, the song's called Bomber's Moon, and if you can't get a copy of it, and it would seem that you can't, then drop me a line and I will send you the address where it can be got from.
Thank you very much.
It's actually Moonraker Productions, if you want to look it up in the dictionary, in the directory. It's Moonraker Productions, Suite 48, and I think it's 15 Piccadilly, Manchester, which is Mike's publication office. Anyway, drop me a line and I'll give you that properly.
Thanks very much.
Okay, but it's on Moonraker record label, and the number is MOO, M003. All that off the top of his head. Moo, that's right. All right?
Okay,
cheers.
By the way, I don't want your job. Mine's lousy, but I think yours is worse.
All right then. You're probably right. Thanks, Tom. Ta-ra. Mark, how are you doing?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I'd like to talk about the current situation in South Africa.
We'll talk.
Well, the thing is, wouldn't you agree with me that if Nelson Mandela was released, the actual situation in South Africa would increase, the troubles in South Africa would increase?
Well, it depends on what Nelson Mandela does or says, doesn't it?
Because the actual leader would be there, so there'd be more power.
Can we just... you asked a question, I tried to give you an answer, and then you tried to give me your answer. I'm happy to hear your answer. If you don't want mine, don't bother asking me questions.
Yeah, go on.
Well, what I said was, or what I started to say, was that it rather depends on what Nelson Mandela says and does when he comes out of prison, doesn't it?
That's it, okay. That's it, yeah, okay. I'd like to see how he was influenced, but I think if he came out, the actual people would feel more power and it would be increased. I'd like to see the situation solved by different means, without him coming out, but by more sanctions on South Africa.
More sanctions?
Influence more, yeah.
Do you think that the black people of South Africa are prepared to wait whilst those sanctions, which they're surely going to have absolutely no faith in anyway, whilst those sanctions take effect? Or do you think that the black people of South Africa have actually run out of patience due to the intransigence of their supposed government. And if the government of South Africa is not careful, and I don't welcome this in one sense, but if the government of South Africa is not careful, they will have civil war on their hands, which I hope they lose.
That's it, I agree totally.
But that won't be responsible or won't be due to Nelson Mandela or any other leader of the blacks in South Africa. It will be responsible, or the responsibility of, he said, looking for his words, it will be the responsibility of the fascist government of South Africa.
That's it, I agree.
If you ground people into the earth long enough, they eventually bite your foot, and when they get a taste of biting your foot and seeing how it hurts, they consume your leg, and then they bury you. And the sooner the better, but I would prefer it was done without violence.
That's it. I think something should be done before, because South African people must be carrying on more and more, and getting much more annoyed, and wanting to Nelson Mandela to be released. I think something should be done before the actual troubles start, because
that would have been nice, but unfortunately the troubles have started.
Yeah, but they're going to get a lot worse.
Yes, they are, but do you think there is any action that people outside could take, such as the action you suggested, other governments levying serious financial sanctions against South Africa, that would satisfy the blacks, who actually are now incensed at their vile and violent treatment?
I agree, toll sanctions can't be put, obviously.
Well, I'm not talking about the degree of those sanctions, I'm talking about their credibility with the people who are fighting back, with the black people of South Africa. Do you think, if every government in the world said tomorrow, categorically nothing will be supplied to or purchased from South Africa, do you think the people who are the underdogs in South Africa would believe it? Do you think they would wait?
No, obviously they wouldn't wait.
No, they wouldn't. The only thing that is going to change it in South Africa is for the government of South Africa to act now. And if they wait, they will die.
That's it, I agree. I think the government should act now. Not for Nelson Mandela, but should act now for the people. And the people should make their choice.
Indeed. Well, we had a woman on this phone in last night maintaining that there weren't people at all. All right?
Okay.
Ta-ra. How do, Paul?
Oh, Alan, I'd just like to talk about the compensation scheme at working. 2 years ago, I electrocuted myself. And, well, it wasn't, it was an accident. I was working on an house, and we turned electric off in the house while I was putting some sockets upstairs. And apparently, the upstairs was on a different line, and the electric was still going through. And I electrocuted myself, and I was stuck to a water cylinder. And I was stuck to the electric for about a minute. And I had a hole in my hand, and I severed an artery, and I still haven't heard out about it yet.
Probably suffering from damp as well. What do you mean? That is a wonderful story. It's marvellous. What do you want to know from me?
I want to know, how come it's taking so long to hear anything about it?
I don't know. How long has it been?
Well, 2 years ago.
2 years. You presumably have lodged your complaint and your claim.
Complaint, yeah.
Do you have a solicitor acting on your behalf?
I do have a solicitor acting on my behalf.
Well, why don't you ask him why it's taking so long? He may well have more information than me.
Yeah, I have asked him.
And what does he say?
Well, all he says is it takes time for things to go through like this, but I haven't heard nothing from him for 6 months. And
Well, that's partly your fault, isn't it? It's not difficult for you to go and see him or telephone him.
Yeah, well, when I do go and see him and telephone him, what he says is, well, we haven't heard anything yet. He's going through the motions and all this.
Well, why don't you ask him to explain in detail what he's done so far and what he plans to do from now on?
Yeah. And,
don't be frightened of your solicitor. A lot of people get the impression that solicitors are gods. They're not. Some of them are not even human beings. What you want to do is to always remember that he works for you. He is your servant, or she is your servant. He or she takes your money and sometimes give little in return. What you need to do is to make damn sure you get more for your money. But they work for you. You tell them what to do. Go in there and rattle his cage. All right?
Yeah, thanks very
Cheers.
much.
Ta-ra. Cronus will be with you soon, provided you tell us what your proper name is. You're
really on target, piloting a square deal Capri laser from Bradshaw's. Yup, our square deal offer means a Capri laser for just £6,299 on the road. That's over £720 off normal Ford price. Fly down to Bradshaw's, Marsh Lane, Preston now for this and all our other square deals, or phone 54083 for details.
KBS provide a quality catering service that's fit for a king without charging you a king's ransom. Meals for all occasions are carefully created by their celebrated chefs. Choose a buffet, barbecue or banquet. KBS takes away the worry of parties. They'll provide cutlery, crockery and can even organize bars, glasses, tables, in fact whatever you want, while you concentrate on simply enjoying yourself. If you want the best, call KBS on Great Harwood 885190. That's 885190.
For a tasty treat with a difference, try genuine Turkish kebabs from as little as £1.50 for a large Turkish doner kebab at the In-N-Out Kebab licensed restaurant and takeaway. Open every evening till 3 a.m. at 71A Dixon Road, Blackpool. That's the In-N-Out Kebab licensed restaurant and takeaway. Call in for a free taste.
Hello, Paul. Oh, it's not Paul, it's Kroner. Hello, Kroner. He's on line 2. What do you want?
Hey.
Hello, what's your proper name?
Mark.
Why do you call yourself Kroner?
Kronos.
I'm sorry?
Kronos.
Kronos.
Kronos, because my Evo's called Kronos.
Your Evo is?
My Evo.
Your hero?
Yeah.
Very good. Anyway, Mark, what do you want?
When you jump off the pier at Blackpool, will you jump off Blackpool Tower as well?
No.
Why
Because
not?
it costs, I think it costs £4 to go up there, and I've not got that kind of money. Hello, Ian.
Hello. Listen, I found out something very disturbing today.
What?
4 people have divorced you, haven't they?
I've no idea. I'll do to somebody else. Allan.
Hello?
Hello?
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a question about budgies, if I can.
I don't know anything about budgies, you'd be wasting your time.
Get down to Dutton Foreshore. Our reputation means a great deal.
Dutton Foreshore of Preston is the largest Austin Rover dealer in the country. That's why they can afford to offer you the best deals. Well, now they've got even more to offer. Drive in your old car and drive out in a shiny new C-registered Austin Rover. They're giving the greatest part exchange deals going. So what are you waiting for? Hadn't you better get going to Dutton Foreshore, Corporation Street, Preston, for the very best deals in new C-Reg cars.
Don't you know that our reputation means a great deal?
Oh, Alan's disappeared. Do we care? Do we heck? Who have we got in otherwise? Bugley?
Bubbly.
Oh, I see. What's your proper name?
Solat Chowdhury.
What's your proper name?
Solat Chowdhury.
What's your proper name?
Solat Chowdhury.
Why do you call yourself Bubbly?
It's my mum called it me, I don't know why. I want to
What,
make...
she doesn't like you?
No, she loves me. Alan, listen, don't cut me off, yeah? I want to speak. I want to make 4 statements.
We don't have time for
Please,
4
please,
statements.
please. Please, I'm
Those
begging
were the
you.
4 statements. You can beg all you like. I don't respond to begging. It doesn't become you, and we do not allow 4 statements on this programme. It's not public service broadcasting. You're tuned into the wrong one. And it's very nearly news time, so we've got rid of him anyway. 0772561 1000. Want to join us after the news?
Red Rose Radio.
The Midnight News, this is Allan King. Air crash investigators say they found a vital clue which could explain the jumbo jet disaster in Japan. A piece of tail section from a Japan Airlines plane has been found in the sea off Tokyo, more than 100 miles from the scene of the crash. And, as Kevin Murphy reports, it was found along the flight path of the doomed airliner at a point where the pilot said he was losing control.
What's been found in the sea is the huge vertical stabilizer from the tail section of a Japan Airlines jumbo jet. Experts say it's highly likely to have come from the doomed plane. And in Britain, 747 pilot Ian Froe from the British Airline Pilots Association says that without that stabilizer, the aircraft would have been extremely difficult to control.
If it fell off cleanly, they would have quite severe difficulty in controlling the aeroplane. It provides the stability of the aeroplane lengthways.
Only 4 of the 524 people on board the jumbo jet survived the crash. Remarkably, those survivors only had minor injuries. But among the dead is British businessman 28-year-old Kim Matthews from Enfield in Middlesex. He'd been to see his family in Britain to introduce them to his Japanese fiancée.
The NUR Rail Union looks set for a showdown with British Rail after the BR board threatened to sack 270 striking guardsmen. A national rail strike has moved one step nearer over the introduction of driver-only trains. Here's our industrial editor, Neil Mainland.
400 or 500 BR staff have been taking action over the one-person operated system, but BR has threatened dismissal to the 270 who've been on strike for some time. NUR leader Jimmy Knapp is urging his members to stand firm.
I hope the first thing that will happen is that our people will redouble their determination.
NUR guards ballot later this month on national action, but the sacking threat could bring conflict much closer.
The government's under fire after revealing that it cost £875,000 to lure Ian McGregor across the Atlantic to take control of British Steel. The money is being paid as compensation to the American bank which employed Mr McGregor and lost his services when he came to Britain. Mr McGregor is now the coal board boss, and Labour's employment spokesman John Prescott says the payment is appalling.
He's destroyed a great deal of the coal and the steel base, thrown thousands of people onto the dole, increased our imports and exports, and added to the great deindustrialisation that's taken place in this country. It's almost like paying Attila the Hun for sacking Rome.
The world's youngest ever heart-lung transplant patient, 3-year-old Jamie Gavin from Dublin, is doing fine in Harefield Hospital in Middlesex after a 4-hour operation. As Helena Kekuch reports, the surgery ended months of waiting for suitable donor organs to become available.
It was late last night in Dublin. Tony and Marion Gavin received the telephone call from Harefield Hospital they knew gave little Jamie a chance of life. By 8 o'clock this morning, the toddler had already undergone 4 hours of surgery. His parents are now at his bedside.
Oh, just waiting for him to carry on and continue to recover. It's obviously been an ordeal for you. What's the hardest part been?
I suppose just stress.
Waiting?
Yeah. It's understood the donor organs came from a 3-year-old Southampton girl who'd fallen 50 feet from an upstairs window.
Independent Radio News.
When you think about cars.
Yes, it's Fiesta Week on now at John Wilding's Garstang. Come along and see the finest selection of new and nearly new Fiestas in Lancashire, with prices starting from only £1,150 and low mileage bargains with just 1,000 miles on the clock. As ever, John Wilding will offer you the best part exchange price anywhere and an unbeatable deal on finance. So if you're even thinking of a Fiesta, it's well worth a trip to John Wilding's Garstang, especially during Fiesta Week.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding.
Good morning, 4 minutes past midnight, 0772 56 1000 to join us on the phone in.
24 hours a day, Red Rose Radio.
Hello, Paul. Are you alright?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I'd like to talk about affiliation.
Affiliation?
Yes.
To what?
Pardon?
Affiliation to what?
To get custody of the child or to access...
An affiliation order?
Yes.
I see.
Right. And my girlfriend just left me recently, right, and she took me baby. I must make this point clear, it's illiterate, the baby, right?
Illiterate?
Yeah, and...
Not many babies can read or write. Do you mean it's illegitimate?
Sorry, illegitimate.
You're the father of it, is she the mother?
Yes.
What do you want to know?
What are the chances of me getting custody of the child, or if not getting custody, access to see her?
Custody, given that you are the illegitimate father, I would suggest would be virtually impossible.
Yeah.
Access, if the mother of the child wishes to obstruct you, I think would also be virtually impossible, but I am not the person to advise you. You need a solicitor.
Yeah, pardon?
I didn't say anything.
I've been to see a solicitor.
And what does he or she say?
He said he's going to find out where she's living, right, and...
What did he say as to the likelihood of you obtaining custody or access?
What did he say?
I asked you first.
I just said,
Yes, I know. I can almost guess what you said. I'm trying to discover what the solicitor said in answer to the question you put to me, and that is, what was the likelihood, or what is the likelihood, of you getting custody or access to the child?
He said, I've got a slim possibility of custody, but I've got greater possibility of getting access to see the baby.
Greater than slim. Did he tell you whether you had more than a 50-50 chance?
I had less than a 50-50 chance of getting custody.
What was the quotient or the ratio of getting access?
He didn't quite say.
He didn't quite say.
No.
Perhaps you interrupted him. When you asked him these questions and he answered them, did you believe him?
Yes.
Why are you bothering me then? You have the answers to your... You're not on the radio again. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Alan. I wonder if you could help me. We've just built a church in Ormskirk, and I was wondering...
You've just built a church?
Well, yeah. You know, it took us a couple of days, like. But could we have about 100 of your photos to plaster around the guttering and use as gargoyles?
No.
Well, it's cheaper than a stonemason.
Indeed it is, but I will have nothing to do with churches. Goodbye. Hello, Neil again.
Hello. I'd like to talk about the wealth of this country and how it's distributed. I'd like to take a reference to Band-Aid and Live Aid, which I thought were brilliant, and people like you and like myself put our hands in our pockets and really try to help.
Well, I don't know where you got the information that I put my hand in my pocket from. Would you like to just speak for you?
Yeah, well, I'll...
Very good. What would you like to say, first of all, about Band-Aid, or Live Aid, as it's called these days?
Well, I think they got up and decided that...
Yes, we know what they got up and decided. What would you like to say about it in connection with the distribution of wealth in this country?
Well, I'm just drawing a comparison, if you'll give me 10 seconds.
1,
Yeah,
2,
and now you've got
3, 4, 5. There you are, you blew it after 4.
That's a furniture store.
How do, Samantha?
Hello. Could you tell me what's worn under a Scotsman's kilt?
I've no idea what's worn under a Scotsman's kilt. No doubt you'll tell me.
Yeah. Nothing, because it's all in good order.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The old uns are the best. I remember the Beano. Leslie, how do?
Hello, I wonder if you can enlighten me why there's always advertisements, etc., about people to lose weight, and yet there's nothing for slim people to gain weight.
Because not many people want to gain weight.
I do.
Well, yes, but you're not many people.
Well, there is a lot of slim people that can't seem to get anything to gain weight, yet there's a lot to lose weight.
Well, the answer is that there aren't enough of them for there to be adverts to market the product that would do it, if indeed there was such a product. But I seem to remember reading ads about things such as that, or at least, did I read them? Did I see them on television? I'm just trying to think what the stuff was called now. But there is stuff you can get, and I have seen it advertised. But not as predominantly and almost vehemently as slimming is advertised.
And the gentleman that rung up before is saying about you being fat, you're not really, just chunky.
Chunky.
But,
Well, that's perhaps the same thing, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Now, you might think it's my sick sense of humour, or...
I might indeed.
But I think one of the adverts that comes on is very distasteful.
Well, before we go any further, we're not allowed to talk about the ads.
Oh, are we not?
No.
Oh, okay.
Those people pay good money, and some of which percolates to me, and I don't want to upset them because they might stop doing it, and I'd be looking for work. And
then.
I'm not likely to get another job because I'm thick.
Never mind.
I don't. Ta-ra.
Okay, bye.
Hello to Jill.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
First of all, could you tell me how you managed to live with a split personality?
I don't live with one, I am one.
No, the point is, do you talk to your friends and your neighbours and your close relatives the same way that you talk to the people on the radio, sort of thing?
Is that a question or a statement?
Bit of both, really.
I see. I don't answer questions about my private life. Ever.
No, it's just that...
Well, that's the answer to your question. I do not answer questions about my private life. You'd have to be one of those relative, friends, family, to find out the answer to that, and you're not, so you won't, because I'm not going to tell you.
Sure. Okay, mate.
Thank you very much. How do to Colin?
Hello, Alan. I'd just like to say, I know where you're at, and I'm coming for you.
I'm really worried. I'm frightened of children. Good night. Annette, how are you?
Hello?
I'm talking like this because I'm afraid of Colin. What can I do for you, Annette? Seems I can't do anything.
I'm fine, thanks.
Annette, you're listening to the radio. You ought to be listening to me on the telephone, because otherwise it's going to be confusing. Hello?
Hello?
Are you on the phone now?
Yeah.
Good. What do you want?
Oh, I'd just like to ask Allan, is it true you have been married 4 times?
I've just said I never answer questions about my personal life under any circumstances. I don't even answer whether I've got children or not. How do Dave?
Yeah, I'd just like to talk about, I see I had a checkbook, you see, stolen.
You had a checkbook stolen?
Yeah. Anyway, sort of, long story short, I went down the bank and that, sorted out with them, they said they went to the police, you know what I mean, report it stolen. And they told me that they wanted the either photocopies of the checks, you see. So anyway, I found out the police had been down to the bank today, you know, they called me in. And apparently they're accusing me of doing it.
When you say apparently they're accusing you of doing it, are they or are they not?
Yeah, well, they haven't charged me, but you know, they had me down the police station, they had me in the cells for 3 hours, and then they decided to let me go on bail.
On bail?
Until a later date, yeah.
Yes, so you've been bailed. You've been charged and bailed.
It's what you call Section 3, Paragraph 3.
Yes. So basically...
43,
sorry?
Section...
Yeah, we're not over-bothered about your ability to quote the regulations. We're more concerned about whether you did it or not.
Well, I didn't, you know.
Right, well, if you tell the magistrates that...
I just wondered if
what have they got as evidence?
Pardon?
What have they got as
well, they reckon
evidence?
the writing on the cheques is similar to my writing, you see, because they have me doing some handwriting today.
Yes.
And they reckon it's a similarity to it in some letters.
Mm.
And that's all, you know.
So they are presumably going to engage a handwriting expert?
I suppose so, yeah. They reckon they was going to send it to Birmingham or something for fingerprints.
Yeah, they have people that can do all that.
Anyway, you know, I just wondered if there's anything to do about it. Since I'm the, you know, one who's getting accused of it. I mean, it's my damn checkbook, you know.
Well, yes, but you wouldn't be the first person to pretend they've lost their checkbook and cash an awful lot of cheques, if that is what you have done, and you say you've not, and I'm in no position to say otherwise, and have no desire to say otherwise. Have you got a solicitor?
Yeah, well, I spoke to him, and he said there's nothing to do until they actually charge me.
Yeah, there isn't, but you have got one.
Yeah.
Right, well, stick with that. But maintain, if you are innocent, merely say, I am not guilty. And next time they come to take you to the cells, tell them you're not going.
Yep.
Say, if you want me, arrest me.
Actually, I went down the police station today, and then that's what they did, you know.
They have arrested you?
Well, they did do, yeah.
Have they charged you yet?
No.
Well, tell them you're not helping them with their inquiries, you want to go. If they refuse to let you go, tell them you're not staying unless they charge you. All right?
Yeah.
And stick to that. Have you got your solicitor's home phone number?
No, I haven't, no.
Get it.
Right.
Find out where he lives, get his own phone number. He'll hate me for this, but solicitors hate him, he doesn't worry me one bit. All right?
There's nothing else I can do then?
Not for now, no.
No way I can get any advice from, like...
Well, yes, there is, from your solicitor, but at the moment it's stalemate, as it were. No one is taking any positive steps. The police will follow their inquiries and come up with answers.
Mm.
All right?
Yeah, okay.
Cheers. All right now. Yeah. Anthony, how do?
Hello. Yeah, I'd just like to say I think the Conservatives are rather hypocritical when they complain about the donations from the unions to Labour, because they think that the union members should have to opt in instead of opting out. Well, I own shares in a company, and in the account they pass money on to smaller companies that they control. And my mum, who also owns shares, wrote to them and asked them...
Excuse me, go on.
She wrote to them and asked them where the money went, and they refused to tell her. But she's heard that it goes to the Tories, and she can't even opt out, so I think it's rather hypocritical of them.
Okay, but your mum and yourself could attend the next shareholders' meeting, could you not?
Yes.
And you could put your view there, and you could ask the question there.
Yeah, but they probably wouldn't answer it, I mean...
It'd be interesting to see somebody ask a question at a shareholders' meeting about the use of funds and not get an answer.
Yeah, but they might not, I mean, can you just answer any question you want, or do you have to somehow get it onto the agenda?
I suggest that you can get it onto the agenda by writing and saying you want it on the agenda, writing to the company secretary, but if they don't let you put it on the agenda, attend the meeting, tell them that you want to ask the question, and better still, tell the press you're going to.
Well...
Press will have a field day with that.
One other thing I'd like to say, I'm willing to pay the £4 for you to go to the tower if you'll jump off the top.
That's very kind of you.
Right. Bye.
Bye. Spend it on more shares. Anthony, yet another one.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Let's talk about abortion.
Abortion.
I think abortion should be right in one circumstance. If the woman gets raped.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Why should a woman be forced to go through with a pregnancy when, for example, and this is a mere scenario taken off the top of my head, the man has pigged off? So the man has just normal relationships with a woman by which they get pregnant, or she gets pregnant, it isn't a shared thing, and then he thinks, pigging hell, I'm having nothing to do with this, and he sods off, thereby getting rid of any responsibilities he may have had. But the woman is stuck with the responsibility and stuck with the physical trauma of going all the way through that pregnancy under your term. Why should she not have the right to pig off from it if she so desires?
Yeah, well...
But don't say yes unless you mean yes, and you don't.
Have the right.
She should have the right.
A human life should be taken.
Well, just a minute, Anthony. You say she should have the right. The statement you made at the outset of this conversation excludes that right. Well, when you say she should have the right, do you mean wouldn't it be nice if she could, but I don't want her to?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you say that rather than she should? If you believe she should have that right, why are you limiting that right?
Well, I'm limiting that right because in my terms, I think the woman has a right anyway of deciding whether or not to have that child, yeah?
We're not talking about whether she does, Anthony. We're talking about your statement that she should not.
I said she should. I didn't say she should not. I said that a woman...
No, Anthony, your statement is that the only circumstance permissible, in your view, for abortion should be following a rape.
Yeah.
Now, I gave you a scenario that did not include rape, and you said that she should have the right in that case. But unfortunately, your previous statement, whereby you outlawed, in your view at least, all abortion other than that follows rape, would outlaw the choice of whether to follow through with the pregnancy for the woman in the scenario I outlined. Now, did you want that choice outlawed or not?
No.
You didn't?
No.
So you're now prepared to accept that rape victims should have the right to abortion if they wish it, and people whose men have pigged off after finding out the woman was pregnant should have the right.
No.
Well, make your bloody mind up, Anthony. It's impossible to talk to you. You've changed your mind 3 times. I suggest you grow up and think, and I think it's absolutely reprehensible that 2 men sit here discussing what should happen to a woman. Good night.
Rule number 1. Yeah. Be seen. Yeah. Stand out like a sore thumb. Really hit...
I'll do, Andy.
Hello, Alan. Yeah, what it is, I want to ask about some advice, really.
Oh, God, it's turning into a CAB advice like this. You're the last person I'm going to advise anything tonight. What do you want?
Well, what it is, right, I was shopping in Preston Town last week, and I was coming out one of the big stores, and this fella stopped me, like, he says, could you come to the manager's office? So, I didn't want to call it out, so I just went with him, right? I went to office, and they said, could we just, like, check your stuff, right? Because I had a couple of bags with me. I says, yeah, fair enough, if you want.
We're not pulling legs, are we, in this, Andy?
No, not at all.
It's not the one where I pulled his leg.
Sorry?
It's not the one where I was climbing out the window and he grabbed hold of my leg and pulled it, just like I'm doing with you now.
No?
No. Well, get to the end of the story, because I like the punchlines early.
Well, coppers came, right? And
yes.
They says, like, you know what I mean? We'd like to do a strip search, like, you know.
Are you going to get to the end of this story, or are you not?
Well, the strip
You're
search...
not. Goodbye. Hello, Paul.
Hello?
What do you want?
Oh, yes, I'd like to talk about the cuts the major regional health authorities are making within the ambulance service.
I don't care. I don't live in Liverpool. I don't need a Liverpool ambulance. Roger, what do you want?
Tonight I've come over for a football match and I got...
I don't want to know anything about football. Get off. You shouldn't have gone to it. Colin, what do you want?
Oh, alright, mate.
I'm not your mate. I don't know you.
Are you on Brookside next week?
No, I was on yesterday and I will be on the... Sorry?
I was listening last week and you said you're going to be a taxi driver.
I was.
So when's that, next week?
No, that was yesterday also.
That was yesterday?
I just said that.
Oh.
I'll be on again on Saturday on the omnibus edition. I suggest you don't miss it, seeing as how it bothers you so much. Sylvia, what do you want?
Alan, I want to give some advice rather than ask you for some.
Last night I had a lady on.
You're giving advice to me?
No, no.
Oh, that's all right then.
No, I wouldn't presume to do that.
Quite right.
Last night you had a lady on who was very worried about her children who were being bullied.
Yes, I remember.
You sort of couldn't give her a lot of advice about it.
Are you going to?
It's very difficult. No, I'm going to try.
Excellent.
I'm going to tell
Would you
you
like
what-
to start then?
Well, I'll tell you what happened in my case. I had a youngster.
Yeah, we can understand the circumstances. Do you want to tell us the advice?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Well, I sent him along to a self-defence.
So that's the answer. Learn
Yeah.
to fight.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
He was only 5, and within 6 months he could handle himself very well.
And then he was only 5.5. Right, thank you very much. Learn karate, that's the answer. Flip, what do you want?
I'd like to talk about apartheid, Alan.
What would you like to say about apartheid?
Well, I think it's not such a bad thing. We've seen a lot of bad press in the paper.
Then you're a swine. I hope you get run over by a truck slowly. Mandy, what do you want?
Hello, it's about Leslie, I think her name were before, about weight
No
gain.
idea.
There is a formula you can get, it's ultimate.
Don't name it. We're not allowed to name these things. I'm not here to advertise things unless you've got the decency to pay us the money.
Well, I think she's a bit stupid when
You're probably right. You're stupid ringing me. And you've rung me as well, so that makes 2 of you. Thank you. Goodbye. Jason, what do you want?
Hello, hello. I'd just like to comment on your music.
And don't bother. I don't pick it. I don't care about it. Carl, what do you want?
I'd like to talk to you about road tax.
What would you like to say about road
I
tax?
read in the paper a few weeks.
What would you like to say? I don't give a toss what you read in the paper. What would you like to say?
Well,
Well, you've said well.
road tax, right, and put the price of the road tax onto the price of petrol.
Right.
So that the people that were using the road the most.
When you say, excuse me, when you say they said, who do you mean?
Well, they're trying to put a bill through Parliament.
Excuse me, who are?
I don't know, the government.
We'll find out who and then we can talk about it. Nigel, hello.
Hello? Is it me you're looking for?
No, I wouldn't look for you if you were the last person in the world. Pat, what do you want?
I'd just like to ask you, Alan, why a big fat bastard like you is on the other end of this line.
Because there's a gobshite like you phoning up. Hello, Jackie.
Hello, Mr. Beswick. Just a few minutes ago, you say to a woman, learn karate. Well, I would be honored to teach her how.
Go chop a brick. Hello to Emma.
Hello, I've been working as a temp for over 3 years now.
That's hardly temporary, is it? 3 years.
No, but I've been as a temp for 3 years, over 3 years. And I've been told by someone that when they give me the sack, I won't get any redundancy money. Is that right?
Well, first of all, if they give you the sack, you don't get redundancy money anyway. The sack is dismissal and you don't get redundancy money
Or
for
when they
that.
just
If
get
you
rid
mean
of
if they make you redundant, the chances are not, because you are not on a contract with the company that you're currently working for. You're on a contract of service with the agency. And I think what you need to do is find out what your contract is between you and the agency.
But I'm actually working for
Yes, I know you're working. Who pays you? Where does your money come from when you get paid?
the area health authority.
No, I don't mean that. That doesn't mean anything to me. Are they your employers?
Yes.
They are your employers.
Yes.
You are there full time.
Yes.
So you don't work for a temp agency.
No, I said
No.
I'm a temp. Working.
Well, let's just try and work out what you mean by that. When they advertised the post,
Yes.
did you apply?
Yes.
And it said a temporary position
For 6 weeks.
for 6 weeks.
Yes.
You have now exceeded that.
Yes.
You have now been there 3 years.
Over 3 years.
You are a full-time employee, whether the Area Health Authority likes it or not. If they made you redundant now, they would have to pay you redundancy pay. Unless they have given you a fixed-term contract perpetually.
I haven't got a contract
At all. You're a full-time employee. If they make you redundant and don't pay you, take them to the tribunals.
Is that right? Because I rang legal aid.
Okay, do you rang? That's what I think. That's my opinion.
They said it's, it's just to do with the
That's my-
company you work for.
That's my opinion.
So I can take them.
That's my opinion. I can't say yes or no. You'll need the tribunals to make the decision. But if I worked for a company for 6 weeks on a temporary and ended up staying there without break for 3 years, I mean, for example, have they given you holidays?
They didn't for the first year, but...
No, the question, have they given you holidays, I mean, the answer is yes or no.
They have.
They have. So you've had holidays.
Yeah.
So they have honoured, they have established that you have a contract for holidays.
Yeah.
So they have established that when you work for them for 6 weeks on a temporary basis, that has now ended, and you now work for them receiving holiday pay. So you're not a temporary worker at all, are you?
Well, it says on my clock card...
Never mind what it says on your clock card. If you want me to tell you what's on your clock card, you'll just send it to me. I'm trying to tell you that if they make you redundant, you should sue them at the industrial tribunals for redundancy pay if they don't give it to you.
Oh.
All right?
Okay.
It might be sensible. Are you in a trades union?
No.
Well, there's a mistake for a start. Why don't you join one?
They keep saying, you see, you'll be getting...
Who's they?
Well, like the other people I work with.
Why don't you join the trades union and ask your trades union official to...
I did ask him, and he was the one who said you probably won't get it.
He said you won't get membership?
I won't get redundancy money when they get rid of me.
My God. Well, perhaps you're wise not to join that particular union if you've got that much of an idiot running the place. Basically, if you've been employed as a temporary worker, you were employed on the basis of your first appointment that was for 6 weeks duration.
Yeah.
That has obviously altered. You are still there.
Yeah.
Not only is it altered, but they are paying you in the same way, including holiday pay and other facilities, that they pay their other members of staff.
Yeah.
Now, they have yet to give you a contract in writing, so you have the right to assume that the contract after 6 weeks, the temporary contract, ended because you've been kept on. And if you've been kept on for 3 years, you have the right to assume that you've worked there permanently.
Yeah, without a break.
Indeed. So all I can suggest is, should they make you redundant, you take them to the tribunals and see what the tribunal thinks of it. All right?
Right.
But in your case, if they made me redundant, I, for one, would see them at the tribunals. And you'll be pleased to know it doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't?
No.
Oh, right. Okay.
Ta-ra.
Thank you very much.
Hello to Gary.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about the IRA.
What would you like to say about the IRA?
The fact that they plant a bomb, get miles and miles away from it, and then reply that they've planted one. And the fact that they appear at funerals masked and everything.
Yes, we all know that. We read newspapers and watch TV too. What do you want to say about the IRA?
I think they're all cowards.
Cowards?
Yeah.
I probably agree with you. All right. Michael.
Hello.
How do?
Alan?
Yes?
I'd like to bring up just a point about Scottish and English. The point is this: when something good happens, by the way, I've been in England for 22 years.
Yes, one of the things I've discovered in my life is that England is absolutely chock-block full of Scotsmen telling us how wonderful Scotland is.
No, I'm not telling you how wonderful Scotland is.
Are you going to tell me, because you don't seem to be getting to the point, you're going to say that if it's nice, it's British, if it's good, it's English?
No, I wasn't going to say that at all.
I see. Well, tell us what you were going to say, because we really haven't got all night.
Well, I'm not trying to take all night, you know. The thing is this: things happen in England, as you said, if it's good, and it happens from Scotland.
Oh, so you are going to tell me that?
No, I'm not going to tell you
well,
that, I'm going to just give you the thing, like, you know. But the thing is this: